The second part of today's lesson is going to look at linear pairs and vertical angles. A linear pair is a pair of adjacent angles with non-common sides that are a straight angle. Now, a linear pair of angles are two angles that are right next to each other, right? They end up forming a straight line. Now, a straight line is 180 degrees. So in this particular picture, when we have a linear pair, our two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, will add up to 180 degrees. Okay, vertical angles are formed by two lines that intersect, and they're the angles that are directly across from each other. Okay, so for example, the top and the bottom are vertical angles, but also the left side and the right side represent vertical angles. Okay, vertical angles are congruent to each other. So in this problem, angle 1 would be congruent to angle 2. Now let's look at example 6, letter A and B. Now in letter A, it says find the value of x. Well, letter A represents vertical angles. They are two angles that are across from each other. We know that vertical angles are congruent, and congruent means equal to. So if I wanted to solve for x, I would take my two angles and set them equal. So 2x minus 10 equals 120. And we have an equation in which we could solve for x. So I could add 10 to both sides. So 2x would equal 130. Divide both sides by 2. 130 divided by 2 is 65. So in letter A, x equals 65. To check your answer, you could substitute 65 in for the x. Take 2 times 65 minus 10, and we should get 120 degrees. Okay, letter B. Letter B has two angles that are next to each other. Now, if we cover up the bottom half of the picture, we see that these two angles together make a straight line. This represents a linear pair. Okay, so letter B is an example of a linear pair. We know that linear pairs add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to take my two angles and I'm going to add them together. So I have 2x plus 4x plus 108, and these two angles together have to add up to equal 180. Okay, next I can combine like terms, both the 2x and the 4x from the left side of the equation. So 6x plus 108 equals 180. I can subtract 108 from both sides. 180 minus 108 is 72. And if we divide both sides by 6, then we see that x equals 12. All right. Now, in example C, angle ABE is 75 degrees. Find the remaining angle measures in the figure. Well, we know that angles that are across from each other are vertical angles and are congruent. So that means angle CBD is also 75 degrees. So if I want to find the missing angle measures off to the side, I can see that angle CBD is 75 degrees. Now, these two angles next to each other, again, if I cover up half the picture, these two angles create a straight line. All right, a straight line is 180 degrees. So I'm going to take 180 degrees and subtract 75 degrees, and this equals 105 degrees. So angle ABD would be 105 degrees. And then since it's a vertical angle with the angle below, and vertical angles are congruent, I know that angle EBC is also 105 degrees. So angle EBC is 105 degrees, and angle ABD is 105 degrees. All right, now you're going to complete 2.1 practice, where you'll be able to look at a variety of problems from identifying the parts of an angle, congruent angles, angle bisectors, vertical angles, and linear pairs. Good luck.